Hi friends. First off, let's just check in. How y'all doing? Is everyone healthy? Staying safe? Going a little stir crazy? I'm here if you need to vent your struggles, your anxieties. Y'all know that I reply to every single comment that I receive on this channel. It's there if you need it. I hope everyone is staying sane to the best of their ability. I know these are very trying times. I've been seeing a lot of my friends who are artists suddenly become jobless. That can be pretty stressful. I have a lot of my friends starting social distancing in the last couple days, which is necessary. For some people, that can be really anxiety inducing. Being cooped up, being isolated. Everyone can't relate to that anxiety in particular. Social distancing is more or less my natural state of being. My anxieties are surrounding how people are viewing my contributions of entertainment and content in this current climate. I really hope that me continuing to post videos is not misconstrued as opportunism or me capitalizing on a traumatic event for views. I'm sure no one who cares about me is thinking that. However, I do want to touch on it just for my own peace of mind. And my anxiety surrounding that has kind of stalled my creativity a bit because so much of social media right now is just strictly around COVID-19 and quarantine. So posting anything that is unrelated right now almost feels like that could be taken as being obtuse or callous. And so I'm trying really hard to strike the balance between bringing some kind of distraction, entertainment, and trying my best to be understanding of the situation as well. Basically, what I'm doing is the same thing that I would have been doing regardless. Working really hard on this channel, uploading as much content as I can, and also being able to utilize the creativity that I do have control over. Anyway, so a lot of disconnected thoughts. I just wanted to put that out there. That during this time, I'm just going to try and maintain at least a small modicum of normalcy just for my own sanity and also for maybe the sanity of other people who just need a break from what is happening right now. So I hope that wasn't too long. Anyway, thank you so much for all the positive feedback on the last video I just posted. If you haven't seen it yet, I will link it up here. But I had a ton of fun making that video, even though it was a little bit trying. I figure while everyone is just sort of tucked away in their homes, doing their best to keep busy and stay entertained, what better time to start a new palette potential series. Sorry to the one person who commented on the last video that it was really great to see a change up of my content, because we're just gonna do the same thing that we always did. Sorry about that. But I know some people have been looking forward to this. I did tease it a little bit in my last Get Ready With Me. I'll link that up here. And if you haven't guessed which one it is by now, I will jog your memory. We're gonna get into the Jaclyn Hill palette, guys. Oh, what is that you're saying? This is the old Jaclyn Hill palette, and this formula no longer exists? So the whole series would just be a moot point? Fear not, friends, because your girl got the other one. That's right, folks. We are going to be doing palette potential with both Jaclyn Hill palettes with a side-by-side comparison in every single look. So let's get started.
I got frozen pizza!
I've got to tell you, I'm so freaking hyped on this series right now. The original Jaclyn Hill palette has been a longtime favorite of mine. It was one of the biggest palettes that I purchased in the beginning times. When I first received this palette, I felt like infinity stretched out before me. The possibilities were endless. This was every single possible combination of colors you could ever hope to want or need. However, I have not touched this palette in a good year or so. What sparked me wanting to start this palette potential so soon after the last one was because I pulled it out to help with my last video, just out of curiosity to see if some of these shadows still performed, and lo and behold, they performed really well, coupled with all the controversy that has been surrounding this palette as of right now with the change in formula. It made me really want to do a deep dive of both of these palettes, just to make it the most helpful for the most amount of people. I know tons of people own this version of the palette and have no idea how to use it because it is very overwhelming when you first get it. Also, I know a bunch of people who've never tried the Jaclyn Hill palette and would only be able to get their hands on this version of it. Also, my own curiosity has been piqued. I'm really curious to know if the new formula is better, worse, the same. If you are curious to know the exact details of why and how these formulas are different, I will link the video Jen Loves Reviews already put up, which is the video that kind of sparked this whole thing in the first place. She does does a deep dive into all the ingredients. I will not get into that because she explains it far better than I ever could. Just for everyone's satisfaction, let's just look at this brand new, completely untouched, not even swatched palette. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Did I just? I absolutely did. Literally just stuck a nail right into the black. I'll see myself out. Look at all those beautiful shades. We might as well do this now. Let's just take a good old gander at more eyeshadow than I could ever hope to go through. So I'm gonna stop talking and zoom you guys in and start this whole rigmarole, shall we? So of course I already have my base on, which may turn out to be a horrible mistake. As we all know, the OG Jaclyn Hill palette is very dusty. But yes, for the entire series, let's just keep this straight. This side of my face will always be the original Jaclyn Hill palette. And this side of my face will always be the new Jaclyn Hill palette. And we're gonna maintain that through the entire series so none of y'all get confused. And also so I don't get confused. For some reason the new one is heavier and I have no idea why. So I think my main focus for today is going to be this shade right here. So I want this to be the focal point, but I also want to darken everything, make it really moody, smoky, have it mirror my own feelings on the inside. I bought 2 new M514s for this exact occasion. Both sides will be primed the exact same way. As usual, I use my Urban Decay eyeshadow primer potion in the shade Eden. Let's do one eye at a time just so it doesn't dry down and compromise the test. Tapping it out with my finger because I didn't bother to wet a sponge. We're gonna do everything one step at a time so that I don't lose track and forget. So first off, let's just create a shape with Hunts. It is the shade that I've always gravitated to the most. It's not the one I've used the most because it is a very intimidating, very bold, very pigmented shade, but it is the one that I love the tone of. And this one is very unique in the sense that it maintains neutrality while also being very rusty, warm, and rich. And we're just going in with that little blendy brush, stamping out a shape and being careful to tap off any excess. Also, it'll be interesting to see how the original one performs now because it is a few years old. I know that most people usually hold on to their eyeshadows for a little longer than the expiration date just because if they smell fine, they're probably fine. The consistency might change a bit. So far, so good. This one still performs beautifully. Oh, here's a change. They now have all of the shade names on the front. Thank God. All right, she is still as powdery as ever. Pressing, patting, as opposed to swirling and swiping. If I'm gonna say anything on first impression, the formula does appear to, I don't know, feel a little bit drier dipping into it. I do feel like I have a little bit more control on this side in the sense that it's not spreading too far. I do feel like this side blended out a little softer around the edges than this side. You can tell there's a lot more pigmentation going on. I mean, if I didn't tell you, you probably wouldn't know. So I think I'm going to start blending, let's say probably this one here. Took a little while, but it is a very nice blend. I'm not trying to overwork it either. I don't want it to get too high. Really want that rusty shade to shine through. So I'm not taking any more product to blend, just using what's left on the brush. Okay, now I know that this shade is named Chip. That looks pretty intense. Oh, yep, definitely lots of payoff right away. Interesting. It feels like it's a slightly different tone. Really nice even coverage though, but it almost doesn't have the same red purpley undertone as the original. So this side just took me a little longer to build up to the intensity of this side. That's not necessarily a con, it's just different. It actually could be a little more user-friendly that way. This is the original. And this is the new. I do think there is a lack of warmth. This one definitely packs more of that heat. All right, folks, we're just gonna do it. We're gonna go into the black. And Jaclyn always boasted about this black, said it was like the best black, the blackest black. Being very careful not to blend it too far up. Otherwise, this just turns into a big black raccoon eye. I mean, yeah, that's pretty black. I'm gonna take a little bit more of that chip shade. I don't know if it's just because it's new, but this truly does look like its namesake, Abyss. Now the original side, there was not a fallout situation, so we're just going to cross our fingers that that remains that way. Wow, that's pretty freaking black. Wow, this one paid off pretty quick, and there's no hint of any other undertone in it. The original black has a warmer undertone, but on this side I can't detect it as much, and it blended out really nicely. Now I really want to pop something shimmery on the lid, so I think we're going to dip into Firework. This is one of the shades that does actually look a little different in the pan, so I'm going to swatch them both side by side for y'all. This one is the original. Just absolutely one swipe stunning. And this is the new. Still stunning. I do feel like this one I detect slightly less warmth. That seems to be the underlying thing so far. Let's just see what happens when we put it on the lid. I mean, that is chef's kiss. So good. I believe this is the biggest difference so far. I think you can clearly see the amount of red undertone in this metallic versus this one. Just try to blur those edges just a tiny bit more. All right, here it is so far. I do want to blend out the top edge a little bit with that. It's called Silk Cream. If it's one thing Jaclyn knows how to do, it's a transition shade, folks. Dipping back into Hunts just so I don't lose that red. All right, and then doing the same thing again on this side, dipping back into Hunts just to beef up that richness. This is a pretty good spot to be in. I'm gonna go off camera, pop on some lashes, and we will come back and finish the rest of the eye. Okay, lashes are on. These are the Huda Beauty number 23. I wear them every time I just want to feel like a badass. I think this eye look calls for it. Let's go for it. Let's put some black eyeliner in the waterline like the true emo kids we are. This is the sample size of the Marc Jacobs Highliner Gel Crayon. We will blur that out a little bit. We're gonna go straight into that black and smudge out this liner. And then I think I just want to dip straight into Hunts. I changed my mind. I do want to blend those two together with Chip. All I want to do now is blend everything out on the bottom with a little bit of Silk Cream. Okay, interesting. This side is ever so slightly creasing up just a little bit. This side is not. Okay, let's zoom out. We're on the home stretch. I have been so paranoid about my tripod making my shots shaky. I've been trying to keep tabs on it, and if it happens, I'm sorry. I think this would be a very appropriate time to haul out Clown Blush again. Let's do a little dab of this. A little bit of blush topper. Let's do the highlight combination I did in the last video, which I really loved. That is going into the inner corner as well. Let's do a little bit of a spray. I'm just gonna throw in some quick freckles. Throwing on that bottom mascara. Let's do a little bit of an ombre with Maybelline Superstay Matte Ink in the shade Globetrotter. Not my best work. Ew, something about that formula is off. No, I think we have to try this again. I don't know what happened there, but something broke real bad about that. Let's go in with something I know is going to work. This is the Noctex Cosmetics Liquid Lip Vial in the shade Rusted. Well, it might just be my lips because this one doesn't seem to be cooperating the way I want it to either. Probably just need to exfoliate, no big deal. All right, that is look number 1 of this series of Palette Potential, all complete. I'm super impressed with how well this performed. Even though it is technically past its expiration date, I overall think the richness of the colors, the warmth, the pigments so far in the old formula are just slightly deeper and richer than the new one. It is a very minimal difference, but because we are being very hypercritical of both of these formulas, I'm going to say so far the original formula is my favorite. You can just kind of tell that there is a dullness about this side when you really look hard, being very, very picky, very minute details. This one, although I did have to work a little harder to blend everything, popped more. I think you can tell the most in Hunts, which is that really warm red-brown shade. Who's to say how the rest of the palette's going to perform? I, however, was super, super impressed with the black in the new palette. This black just paid off like that. However, I am detecting just the slightest amount of creasing on this side and almost none on this side. You wouldn't be able to tell unless you were up real close, but it's there and it's something to be noted. If you had to choose, which side would you prefer? And which side do you think performed the best? I am very curious to know people's preferences in this situation. I hope you enjoyed the first chapter in the Jaclyn Hill Palette Potential series. I had a lot of fun getting right into the eyeshadow. I cannot wait to see what happens next. Let me know where you would like me to go next. If you want to go warm, neutrals, cool tones, everything about the kitchen sink is in this palette. So let's quickly just rattle off the spiel. Here are the many ways you can help out my channel. Give this video a big thumbs up. You can comment down below what you thought of all the things. Subscribe to my channel. Follow me on other social media. I'll leave that right there, and click the Patreon link down below. And again, I really hope that in these really surreal times that my videos give you a little bit of solace, a little bit of an escape. I'm just gonna keep doing my best to provide that for you. I know y'all are smart people, but I just gotta say it. Stay safe, wash your hands, and above all else, be kind and be generous, especially right now. And I will see you on the next one. Bye guys.